Okay, so one of the biggest questions I get from new hotel sales managers is, where do I even start? And I know you're just starting your hotel sales role. It's nerve wracking, it's exciting, you're trying to figure it out. And you're also maybe learning a new territory, a market. You've got your goals already set, and you're looking at that number thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to meet this number? Right? But don't worry. Here's the truth. Business is everywhere. You just have to know where to look. Okay. There's different segments that we're going to talk about. And this is what this lesson is about. We're going to break down your market into segments. Okay. So prospecting, when you're out there looking for business, it's easier to identify because you understand what type of segments exist. It's not like you're throwing spaghetti at a wall, hoping it sticks. Like you'll have a solid start to finding business in your market and in your backyard. So let's break down the segments. The first segment we're going to talk about is social. And this one is the wedding blocks. Think of quinceañeras, all of those weekend events, and sometimes they end up covering your shoulder nights, right? Those Sunday nights, those Thursday nights that we like to see because it generates revenue on those days that we normally run a softer occupancy. Think about the milestone birthdays, the different types of reunions. This business tends to be overlooked. But guess what? Like I said, your backyard, you can go out and find this. So when you're out on sales calls and you happen to see a local venue, stop by, say hello, find out how you can become a partner of theirs where they would recommend your hotel to everybody who is calling in, asking about securing that venue for their next event. Okay, so the next segment we're going to talk about is military. Now, this one seems pretty easy. Think about bases. Are there any military bases near you? If you don't have military bases near you, what are other types of military organizations that are within your market? You can also look at the National Guard and you can try to figure out what types of different venues exist that do have military personnel coming to the market. Okay. And I would say Google bases within a 30-mile radius because you'd be surprised if somebody is coming out to work on a project, they may be willing to travel up to 30 miles from their destination of where they're staying to the actual base. Because if you are booking that long-term guest, think of someone who's living in a city and commuting to work. Most likely they'll be more interested in booking a hotel further out because it's like if they're commuting to work. The next one is educational. Think universities, colleges, think of those trade schools, and also think of guest speakers coming in to actually give a lesson at the university. They probably have so many guest speakers come in, right? Think of those keynote speakers that come in, the people who are giving lectures, the people who are substituting, or maybe there is an actual conference that the university is hosting where they have other educational attendees come in. So this is a perfect time to reach out to all of your local colleges and find out ways that you can partner. Get on that recommended list because out of sight, out of mind. If no one is talking about your hotel, then no one is going to book at your property if they don't know about it. The next piece is religious. Now, think of churches, mosques, synagogues. There are often conferences, there are often different types of events. As I mentioned before, keynote speakers or guest speakers coming in. I'll give you an example. I worked in a market in Southern California, and we used to have a youth and adult groups come in, and the youth groups would stay for a full week, Monday through Friday, because of a huge church conference taking place. And it would bring so much demand to the point where we would sell out. And that is something that could be taking place in your market. So as I mentioned earlier, if you're out on sales calls, be sure to stop in and say, hey, listen, do you all ever have any visitors coming in where they actually need lodging? And if they do, would you mind recommending me? How can I get on that list? How can I best support you all? Is that through a discounted rate program? Is that even giving them a local negotiated rate code, especially if they're driving a lot of demand in the market? Think of fraternal. Fraternal groups think of sororities, fraternities, or Rotary clubs, those types of events that actually meet up to host different types of programs throughout the year. The groups that are organized and they already have a process for booking, you just need to get in front of those decision makers and say, hey, listen, I want to be your preferred hotel of choice. What does that partnership look like? How can we get on that list? Now let's talk about sports. I love the sports segment because I've had a lot of experience with sports groups, youth sports, collegiate sports, amateur sports, think of professional sports, traveling teams. What venues are in your market that drive that type of business? Is there a sports complex you can visit? What about a professional sports complex? And I would highly encourage you to reach out to them to find out more about partnership opportunities because tournaments that are state of play, if you don't know this, do require the teams to book at the host hotel or the hotels that they have chosen to be part of their program. And here's another special tip for sports. Oftentimes, third party sports intermediaries are booking these tournaments. So Google search third party travel sports companies, and you'll be surprised at how much you'll find on their websites. And then also, I would say Google any tournaments that are in your market throughout the next couple years so that way you can get ahead. I don't know if you caught that, but we use the acronym SMERF. Now, you may be new to hotel sales and maybe you're taking on this segment, the SMERF segment. Again, it stands for social, military, education, religion, and fraternal, right? But this next piece is part of a different segment, and you may be managing these accounts or not. It is your corporate segment. Now, this is the bread and butter of the hotel. All of those corporate accounts that you end up negotiating rates for, they're the ones who are going to continuously drive their business into your hotel and hopefully long term. In my introductory video to Module 5, I talked about relationships. Corporate relationships also are extremely important to manage because you want to make sure that you always stay top of mind for their travelers and that you're negotiating these types of partnerships. These are the top corporations that are driving the transient travelers to your market. Think of the short-term stays, the 1 to 4 night stays that are needing hotel rooms, maybe because there's a corporate office within your market. Maybe you have an airport, right? So it's driving more of that corporate traveler demand into your market. You want to find out what those corporations are. Think of distribution centers, hospitals, tech campuses, manufacturing plants. Think of any corporation that exists in your market that is driving the 1 to 2 night travelers, and you still want to work with them. Build corporate negotiated rates with them. And then also from a larger scale, you may have Fortune 500 companies who already have a discounted program. If you are part of a brand, brands tend to work out on a global scale, discounted programs. You may already have these in place. So run a list of corporate accounts and national accounts from your PMS system. The reason you want to do that is because, as I mentioned, this is your base business. Those corporate travelers that are constantly traveling to your market is your bread and butter because that is a repeat business that you want to maintain. The biggest takeaway from this lesson is you're not sitting waiting for the business to come to you anymore, right? Don't rely on reactive sales. It's all about proactive sales and actually going out into the market and finding this business for your hotel, right? And there's so many different types of ways to do that. And every one of these segments has real people waiting for you to partner with. Your job is to show up and let them know that you want to take care of them before your competition does. I'm going to give you some homework to do. Okay, especially if you're just getting started, I am going to share with you a prospecting tool. This is a tracker tool where I'll go ahead and list the different segments and I'll give you some activities to start working on so you can get more comfortable at locating this business in your market and also calling on these organizations so that way you can partner with them and hopefully it'll drive more revenue to your hotel. Okay, are you ready for lesson 5.2? We're going to talk about AI and prospecting. And as long as it's within your company policy, yes, let's have fun with AI prompting and asking it questions to help you save time and to help you find the business much quicker because we're going to use this tool as a research partner. All right, are you ready? Let's jump into 5.2.